The morning sun was already warming the quiet suburban street as 8-year-old twins Lily and Noah dragged a small folding table from their garage to the sidewalk in front of their house. Their mom, Diane, watched from the porch with tired eyes and a gentle smile, her arms crossed over her chest as if trying to hold herself together. "You sure you want to do this today?" she called out, her voice carrying a hint of concern. "You two could just play in the backyard instead." "We're sure, Mom," Lily answered, her pigtails bouncing as she nodded firmly. She was the more talkative of the twins, always ready with an answer. "We already made all the signs yesterday." Noah, quieter but just as determined, simply gave a thumbs up as he carefully arranged their items on the table. His serious face was focused on the task, making sure everything looked just right. Diane sighed, glancing at her watch. "I've got to take my medicine and lie down for a bit. Promise you'll come get me if you need anything." "Promise," the twins replied in unison. As their mom went back inside, Noah and Lily finished setting up their sidewalk sale. Their collection wasn't much: some old books, handmade friendship bracelets Lily had learned to make at school, a few action figures Noah had outgrown, and some rocks they'd painted with funny faces and inspirational words. But right in the middle of the table, displayed on a small stand they'd crafted from cardboard and covered with their dad's old blue handkerchief, sat their most prized possession. A limited edition toy car their father had given them on their 6th birthday, just 3 months before the accident that took him away forever. The car was beautiful, a perfect miniature replica of a classic muscle car, painted a deep metallic green with tiny details that caught the light. Their dad had told them it was special, that only a few hundred like it existed in the whole world. He'd promised to take them to a car show one day where they could see the real version. That day never came. Noah picked up the car, turning it over in his small hands. The weight of it felt good, solid, real. Sometimes he would close his eyes and hold it, imagining he could still smell his dad's cologne on it. "Are you having second thoughts?" Lily asked, noticing her brother's hesitation. Noah shook his head. "No. Mom needs the money more than we need the car." He carefully placed it back on its display. "Mr. Chen at the hobby shop said collectors might pay a lot for it," Lily added, straightening the price tag they'd made, $100. It seemed like all the money in the world to them. By mid-morning, a few neighbors had stopped by, mostly to buy lemonade, or Lily's bracelets. Mrs. Wilson from 3 houses down bought a painted rock that said "Breathe" for her office desk. Mr. Patel purchased 2 of Noah's action figures for his nephew, but no one had even asked about the car. "Maybe we priced it too high," Lily whispered to her brother after an elderly couple walked away without buying anything. "Maybe," Noah agreed, "but Dad always said it was valuable, and we need at least $80 for Mom's medicine this month." The twins didn't fully understand their mom's illness, just that she needed expensive pills that made her very tired, and that sometimes she cried at night when she thought they were asleep. Since their dad died, money had become a constant worry. They'd overheard Diane on the phone with Grandma, talking about insurance problems and how her medical leave from work had run out. That's when they had come up with their plan. Around noon, when the sun was directly overhead and the sidewalk was nearly empty, a man turned the corner onto their street. He walked with an unhurried pace, hands in the pockets of his jeans, a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes, and sunglasses hiding much of his face. He had shoulder-length dark hair and a short beard. The twins watched him approach, wondering if he might be a potential customer. "Think he'll buy something?" Lily asked. Noah shrugged. "Hard to tell. He doesn't look like he lives around here." As the man got closer, they could see he was wearing a simple black t-shirt despite the warm day. There was something familiar about him, but neither twin could place it. He slowed as he neared their table, his head tilting slightly as he read their hand-drawn sign, "Twin sale. Buy our stuff, please." "Good afternoon," he said, his voice deeper and gentler than they expected. "Looks like you've got quite the collection here." "Hi," Lily responded cheerfully. "Are you looking for anything specific?" "We have bracelets and books and this car." Noah cut in, pointing to their prized possession. It's limited edition. The man's attention shifted to the toy car, and even behind his sunglasses, the twins could sense his interest growing. May I? He asked, gesturing toward the car. Noah nodded, and the man carefully picked it up, handling it with unexpected reverence. His fingers traced the contours of the miniature vehicle, examining the fine details of the wheels and the perfect paint job. This is really something special, he said, turning it over to look at the underside. Where did you get it? Our dad gave it to us, Lily explained, before he went to heaven. The man looked up at her words, his expression softening behind his sunglasses. I'm sorry to hear that. Noah cleared his throat the way he'd seen adults do when changing the subject. It's very rare, only a few hundred were made. Is that right? The man seemed impressed, though not surprised. And you're willing to part with something so special? The twins exchanged a look, their identical brown eyes reflecting the same mix of determination and sadness. Our mom needs medicine, Lily said simply. It costs a lot of money, and she can't work right now because she gets too tired, Noah added. So we're helping. The man went quiet for a moment, still holding the car. The silence stretched until it almost became uncomfortable. Finally, he asked, Does your mom know you're selling this? She knows we're having a sale, Lily answered carefully. She doesn't know about the car specifically. I see. The man gently set the car back on its display. He looked around, taking in the modest house behind them, the slightly overgrown lawn, the worn welcome mat on the front porch. Then his gaze returned to the twins, studying their hopeful faces. How much are you asking for it? Noah pointed to the price tag. $100, but... He hesitated, glancing at his sister, who gave a tiny nod. But we might take less, if you really want it. The man removed his sunglasses, and for the first time the twins could see his eyes, kind and thoughtful, with tiny wrinkles at the corners that suggested he smiled often. There was definitely something familiar about him, but they couldn't quite place it. Would it be okay if I spoke with your mom? He asked. The twins hesitated. They'd been warned about strangers, of course, but there was something trustworthy about this man. Still, they were cautious. Why? Lily asked, her head tilted suspiciously. The man crouched down to their level, balancing on the balls of his feet. Because I think this car might be worth more than you realize, he said quietly, as if sharing a secret. And I'd like to make sure you get a fair deal. Noah's eyes widened. More than $100. The man nodded. Potentially quite a bit more. To the right collector. The twins looked at each other, having one of those silent conversations that only twins can have. After a moment, they both nodded. I'll go get her, Lily volunteered, already turning toward the house. Wait, Noah called after her. We should ask his name first. They turned back to the man, who was smiling now, a smile that suddenly seemed very familiar, like something they'd seen in movies. My name is Keanu, he said simply. Lily gasped, the realization hitting her first. Like Keanu Reeves, the actor? The man's smile widened, and he put a finger to his lips in a playful shushing gesture. Exactly like him, he whispered. Noah's jaw dropped. No way. Way, Keanu replied with a small chuckle. But maybe we could keep that between us for now. I'm trying to stay low-key while I'm in town. The twins nodded eagerly, suddenly understanding why he was dressed so casually and wearing sunglasses. Lily rushed inside to get their mother, while Noah stood awkwardly trying not to stare at the famous actor standing on their sidewalk. So, Keanu said, picking up one of the painted rocks to break the tension. Did you make these? Yeah. Well, Lily and I both did. That one's mine. Noah pointed to the rock in Keanu's hand, which had a wobbly painted galaxy on it. Do you like space? Love it, Keanu answered, examining the rock with genuine interest. The universe is a pretty amazing place. Inside the house, Lily was tugging on her mother's sleeve, trying to get her to come outside without revealing why. And on the sidewalk, Noah was beginning to think that maybe, Just maybe, this strange day was about to get even stranger. Diane was folding laundry when Lily burst into the bedroom, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Mom, Mom, you have to come outside right now," she insisted, tugging at her mother's sleeve. Diane set down the towel she was folding. "Is everything okay? Did someone—" "Everything's fine," Lily interrupted. "Better than fine. There's someone—" "Who wants to talk to you about the car?" "What car?" Diane asked, her brow furrowing slightly. Then understanding dawned on her face. "Wait, are you two selling Robert's toy car? The one he gave you?" Lily looked down at her sneakers. "We thought it might help with the medicine money." Diane closed her eyes briefly, her heart squeezing in her chest. The twins were only 8, yet here they were trying to solve grown-up problems. She knelt down to Lily's level, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "Honey, that's your special gift from Dad. You don't have to sell it." "But we want to help," Lily insisted, "and the man outside says it might be worth more than we thought." Diane sighed. She'd been hiding the worst of their financial troubles from the kids, but they were observant, too observant. "All right, let me see what this is about." As she followed Lily through the living room, Diane quickly checked her appearance in the hallway mirror. She looked tired, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. Her light brown hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she wore no makeup. The illness had stolen some of the color from her face, but there was nothing to be done about that now. When they stepped onto the front porch, Diane squinted in the bright sunlight. She could see Noah chatting animatedly with a man whose back was turned to her. There was something familiar about the way he stood, relaxed yet somehow alert. "That's him," Lily whispered, as if they were sharing a secret. The man turned around as they approached, and Diane nearly stumbled. Despite the casual clothes and the beard, she immediately recognized Keanu Reeves. Her mind raced, trying to make sense of why a Hollywood actor was standing on her sidewalk, talking to her son. "Hi," he said with a small wave. "I'm Keanu. Your kids are having quite the sale here." Yes, they are," Diane managed, glancing at her children who were beaming with excitement. "I'm Diane. I'm sorry, but I'm a little confused." Keanu smiled apologetically. "I was just walking through the neighborhood I'm filming nearby when I spotted their table. They've got quite the collector's item here." He gestured to the toy car. Noah jumped in eagerly. "He says it might be worth more than $100. Mom, maybe even a lot more." Diane looked from the toy car to Keanu and back again, still processing the surreal situation. "The car? It's just a toy their father gave them before he passed away." "It's not just any toy car," Keanu explained gently. "It's actually a limited edition piece that was made for the movie Speed Rally. Only 500 were created, and they were mainly given to cast and crew." "I know because I was in the film." Diane's eyes widened. "Oh, I didn't realize. Robert, my husband, he was really into cars and movies. He must have found it at a specialty shop or online auction." "Would it be okay if we talked about this a bit more?" Keanu asked, gesturing toward the porch steps. "I think your kids might have stumbled onto something valuable, and I'd like to help make sure they get a fair deal if they really want to sell it." Diane hesitated, looking at the twins' hopeful faces. "Kids, why don't you keep an eye on your table? Mr. Reeves and I will talk over here for a minute." The twins reluctantly returned to their sidewalk stand while Diane and Keanu sat on the porch steps, the toy car now in Keanu's hands. "I hope this isn't too forward," he began, turning the car over carefully. "But your kids mentioned that you've been unwell." Diane looked away, embarrassed. "They shouldn't be worrying about adult problems. I've been trying to shield them from ours. Kids pick up on more than we realize," Keanu said softly. "They seem like great kids, very caring." "They are," Diane agreed, watching them arrange their items on the table. "Their dad would be so proud of them." She paused, then added, "I lost my job 3 months ago when my medical leave ran out. The insurance situation is complicated. We're managing, but it's been tough." Keanu nodded, listening without judgment. "About this car," he said after a moment. "There's something your kids don't know, and I don't think they could have known." He turned the car upside down and pointed to a tiny, almost invisible signature etched on the underside. That's my signature. I signed a few of these for a charity auction years ago. This particular model could be worth several $1,000s to a serious collector. Diane gasped. Thousands? That can't be right. Memorabilia can be valuable in the right markets, Keanu explained, especially limited pieces with authentication. I think this might be one of the cars that went to the Children's Hospital Foundation auction in 2018. Robert volunteered there, Diane said quietly, the pieces falling into place. He was a pediatric nurse before moving to the emergency room. He must have bid on it at the staff auction. Her eyes welled with tears. He never told me how much he spent. That was just like him. They sat in silence for a moment, both watching the twins as they sold a friendship bracelet to a passing teenager. I don't feel right about them selling this, Diane finally said. It's one of the last gifts their father gave them. But they're so determined to help. And truthfully, she trailed off, not wanting to admit how desperately they needed the money. What if there was another way? Keanu suggested. I know some legitimate collectors. I could help connect you with someone who would pay a fair price. If that's what you decide is best, or maybe there are other options we could explore. Before Diane could respond, Noah came running up to them, slightly out of breath. Mom! Mr. Reeves! We just sold 3 bracelets and 2 painted rocks. He held up a crumpled $10 bill proudly. That's awesome, bud, Keanu high-fived him. You've got some serious sales skills. Noah beamed at the compliment. Lily says, we should offer you lemonade, since you're our special guest. Diane started to get up. I can make some. Please don't trouble yourself, Keanu said quickly. Actually, I wouldn't mind a glass, but only if it's no trouble. We already made it this morning, Noah assured him. It's in the cooler under the table, I'll get you some. As Noah dashed back to their stand, Diane turned to Keanu with a perplexed expression. I have to ask, why are you doing this? You're a famous actor. Surely you have better things to do than help a random family with their yard sale? Keanu's expression turned thoughtful. You know, people often have ideas about what fame means or what famous people do with their time. But at the end of the day, we're all just people walking through life, trying to do the right thing when we see an opportunity. He shrugged. I was just taking a walk to clear my head before filming this afternoon. Finding your kids in this car, it feels like one of those moments where paths cross for a reason. Lily approached with a paper cup of lemonade, walking slowly to avoid spilling. Here you go, Mr. Reeves. It's $3, but you can have it for free because you're helping us. Keanu accepted the cup with exaggerated formality. Thank you very much, but I insist on paying. A good business person never gives away product for free. He winked and handed her a $20 bill. Keep the change. Lily's eyes widened. But that's too much. Consider it an investment in your future business ventures, Keanu replied, taking a sip of the lemonade. Perfect, not too sweet. As Lily skipped back to join her brother, Diane watched her children with a mixture of pride and concern. They've been through so much already, she said quietly. Losing their father, then my diagnosis. They've had to grow up too fast. They seem remarkably resilient, Keanu observed, but they're still kids who need to be kids. A car slowed as it passed the house, the driver clearly doing a double take at seeing Keanu Reeves sitting on a porch drinking lemonade. Keanu casually adjusted his cap and angled his body away from the street. I should probably move somewhere less visible, he said with a rueful smile. Once people start recognizing me, it can get complicated. Of course, Diane said, suddenly, remembering who she was talking to. You can come inside if you'd like, though I should warn you the house is a bit of a mess. I don't mind, Keanu assured her. He stood up, still holding the toy car. Should we bring the kids in too? I think we should talk to them together about this car and what it might mean. Diane nodded, calling to the twins. Lily, Noah, can you come inside for a few minutes? Bring your money box. The twins looked disappointed at having to leave their post but quickly packed up their earnings and followed their mother and Keanu into the house. As they settled around the kitchen table, the toy car sitting in the center like a tiny treasure, Diane couldn't help but wonder what twist of fate had brought this unexpected visitor into their lives. And Keanu, watching the twins climb onto their chairs with innocent excitement, felt a strange sense that he was exactly where he was supposed to be at that moment. The kitchen was small but cozy, with crayon drawings stuck to the refrigerator and a well-worn wooden table that had clearly hosted thousands of family meals. Keanu sat across from the twins while Diane made coffee. The familiar domestic sounds of spoons clinking against mugs and water running somehow making the surreal situation feel more normal. "So," Noah said, breaking the slightly awkward silence, "is our car really worth thousands of dollars?" Keanu nodded, turning the toy car over in his hands once more. "It could be. These limited editions become more valuable over time, especially ones with unique features." He pointed to the tiny signature etched underneath. "Like this." Lily leaned forward, squinting. "That tiny writing? What does it say?" "It's my signature," Keanu explained. "I signed about 50 of these cars for a charity auction several years ago. They're quite rare now." The twins exchanged a look of disbelief. "You mean you signed our car?" Noah asked, his voice rising with excitement. "But how did Dad get it?" Diane set a mug of coffee in front of Keanu and sat down with her own cup. "Your father volunteered at Children's Hospital, remember? They had a staff auction for the charity. He must have bid on it there." "That's so cool," Lily exclaimed. "Dad had a car signed by you and never even told us." "Maybe he was saving it as a surprise for when you were older," Diane suggested softly. "He always did love planning special moments." A brief sadness passed over all their faces at the mention of what might have been. Keanu sipped his coffee, giving them space for their shared memory. "The question now," he said after a moment, "is what you want to do with it." Noah looked torn. "We wanted to sell it to help Mom with her medicine money. But if Dad got it special, I think your father would be incredibly proud of how you're thinking of others," Keanu said gently. "That kind of generosity is rare." Diane reached across the table and squeezed her children's hands. "But I don't want you giving up something so special. We'll figure out the medical bills another way. Actually," Keanu set down his coffee, "I might have an idea that could work for everyone." He pulled out his phone and scrolled through his contacts. "I know a legitimate collector who specializes in movie memorabilia. He's trustworthy and fair. Would it be okay if I gave him a call?" Diane hesitated, then nodded. "I suppose it wouldn't hurt to find out what it might be worth." While Keanu stepped into the living room to make his call, the twins bombarded their mother with whispered questions. "Is that really Keanu Reeves in our house? How come he's being so nice to us? Do you think he'll sign something else for us before he leaves?" Diane hushed them with a smile. "Let's just be grateful he happened to walk by today. And remember, he's just a person doing a kind thing. So let's not make him uncomfortable." In the living room, Keanu spoke quietly into his phone, occasionally, glancing at the toy car in his hand. When he returned to the kitchen, there was a slight smile on his face. "Good news," he said, sitting back down. "My friend Greg is very interested. He's actually in town for a collector's convention this weekend. He said he could stop by tomorrow morning if that works for you." "Tomorrow?" Diane looked surprised. "That's very fast." Keanu shrugged. "Greg's pretty enthusiastic about these things. He mentioned he might be willing to pay anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the condition." He held up the car. "And this appears to be in excellent shape." The twins' jaws dropped simultaneously. $5,000? Noah repeated in disbelief. "For our toy car? That's like $100 bills," Lily said, trying to process the amount. Diane looked equally stunned. That would cover my treatment for months and help catch up on the mortgage." She shook her head as if trying to clear it. "This doesn't seem real." "The collector market can be surprising," Keanu said, "especially for authenticated movie memorabilia." He placed the car carefully on the table. "But I want to make sure you're all comfortable with this. It's your decision." The kitchen fell silent as the family exchanged looks. Finally, Noah spoke up. "I think Dad would want us to sell it," he said firmly. He always said taking care of each other was the most important thing. Lily nodded in agreement. And we can take a picture with it first to remember it. Diane's eyes filled with tears. Are you sure, sweethearts? This is your special gift from Dad. We're sure, the twins said in unison. Keanu watched the exchange with a thoughtful expression. There's something else you should know, he said, his voice gentle. The movie this car is from, Speed Rally, it was about a father and his kids entering a race to win money for their mother's medical treatment. The family stared at him. Really? Diane asked. Keanu nodded. It wasn't a big hit, but it had a similar story to what you're going through. I played the father. He looked at the toy car. Maybe that's why Robert chose this particular collectible. Dad loved car racing movies, Noah said quietly. He used to let us stay up late to watch them sometimes when you were having a bad day, Mom. The coincidence hung in the air, adding another layer of meaning to their decision. It feels right, Diane finally said. Selling it, I mean. Like Robert is still finding ways to take care of us. Keanu smiled. I think Greg will give it a good home. He has a museum where he displays his collection so other people can appreciate these pieces too. A museum? Lily perked up. So people will see our car in a museum? Most likely, Keanu confirmed. Greg is pretty passionate about sharing his collection with the public. Noah straightened in his chair, looking proud. That's even better than keeping it in our room where nobody sees it except us. A phone alarm suddenly chimed and Keanu checked the time. I should be heading back to set soon, he said, sounding genuinely reluctant. We're filming until late tonight. Of course, Diane said quickly. You've already been so generous with your time. We can't thank you enough for stopping and helping us understand what we have. It was my pleasure, Keanu replied, and the sincerity in his voice was unmistakable. Would it be okay if I gave Greg your address? He could come by around 10 tomorrow morning. That would be fine, Diane confirmed. We'll be here. As they all stood up, Lily tugged gently on Keanu's sleeve. Mr. Reeves, would it be okay if we got a picture with you? Nobody at school will believe this happened. Keanu looked slightly hesitant. I don't usually, well, I guess one picture would be all right. Diane quickly grabbed her phone. Kids, stand over by the fireplace with Mr. Reeves. The twins positioned themselves on either side of Keanu, their faces glowing with excitement. Diane took several photos, apologizing for her shaky hands. Perfect, she said, reviewing the images. Thank you so much. One more thing before I go, Keanu said, reaching into his pocket. He pulled out a business card and handed it to Diane. This has my assistant's contact information. If Greg doesn't show up tomorrow or if there are any problems at all, please call this number. Diane accepted the card, looking slightly overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. This morning when I woke up, I never imagined. Life has a way of surprising us, Keanu said with a small smile. Sometimes even in good ways. As they walked him to the door, Noah had one last question. Are you going to tell people about our car, like in interviews and stuff? Keanu crouched down to the boy's level. Would you like me to? Noah thought for a moment, then shook his head. No. I think it should just be our story. Then it will. Stay just between us, Keanu promised, holding out his hand for a solemn handshake which Noah returned with equal seriousness. At the front door, Keanu adjusted his cap and put his sunglasses back on, transforming once again into an anonymous passerby. I'll check in with Greg after your meeting tomorrow. Best of luck with everything. And just like that, he was gone, walking down the street with the same casual stride that had brought him to their sidewalk sale hours earlier. The family stood in the doorway watching until he turned the corner and disappeared from view. Did that really just happen? Diane whispered half to herself. It really did, Lily confirmed, slipping her small hand into her mother's. Do you think we should put the car back on display for tomorrow? Absolutely, Diane agreed, giving her daughter's hand a squeeze. Let's make it look special. As they closed the door and went back inside, a sense of cautious hope filled the house, a feeling that had been missing for too long. Whatever happened tomorrow, today had brought something unexpected and precious. A reminder that sometimes help comes from the most unlikely places, and that kindness can appear when you need it most. The twins barely slept that night. They whispered across the darkness between their beds, reliving every moment of their extraordinary day and imagining what might happen tomorrow. "Do you think the collector guy will really give us $5,000? Lily asked, hugging her. "Stuffed rabbit close, Mr. Reeves said 3 to 5,000. Noah corrected. He was always careful about details. "But yeah, I think he will. Why would Keanu Reeves lie to us?" "I still can't believe he was just walking down our street," Lily giggled. "And now he has our phone number. Well, Mom's phone number." "He doesn't have Mom's number," Noah pointed out. "His assistant does." Their conversation continued until their mother gently reminded them that they needed to sleep. But even Diane found rest elusive that night. The events of the day kept playing through her mind like a movie she couldn't pause. The appearance of Keanu Reeves, the revelation about the toy car's value, the promise of a solution to their financial problems. It all seemed too good to be true. By 9 the next morning, the house was spotless. Diane had been up since dawn, cleaning and tidying, despite her fatigue. The twins had helped, eager to make everything perfect for their important visitor. The toy car sat on the coffee table, carefully polished and positioned on a small display stand Noah had constructed from cardboard and blue felt. "Do I look okay?" Diane asked, smoothing her hands over her blouse. She'd chosen her nicest casual outfit, dark jeans and a blue top that brought out her eyes. "You look pretty, Mom," Lily assured her. "Like when you used to go to work." Diane smiled, though the comment stung a little. She missed her job as a dental hygienist, missed the independence, the routine, the feeling of contributing. The illness had taken so much from her. At precisely 10 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Noah rushed to answer it with Lily and Diane close behind. On the porch stood a tall man with salt and pepper hair and glasses, dressed in a crisp button-down shirt and khakis. He carried a leather briefcase and had a friendly, professional demeanor. "Hello there," he said, smiling at Noah. "I'm Greg Phillips. I believe Keanu Reeves might have mentioned I'd be stopping by." Noah nodded eagerly. "You're the collector. Come in. We have the car all ready for you." Greg followed them inside, his eyes lighting up when he spotted the toy car on the coffee table. "Oh, wonderful. May I?" he asked, gesturing toward it. "Of course," Diane said. "Please have a seat." Greg sat on the edge of the couch and carefully picked up the toy car, examining it with the practiced eye of someone who had evaluated many collectibles before. He turned it over in his hands, inspecting every detail, his expression growing increasingly impressed. "This is in remarkable condition," he murmured. "Original paint, no scratches. The wheels are perfect." He looked up at the family watching him anxiously. "Keanu told me a bit about how you came to have this piece. Your late husband had excellent taste in collectibles." "We didn't know it was so special until yesterday," Diane explained. "The twins were just trying to help with—" She hesitated, not wanting to sound like she was asking for charity. Greg nodded understandingly. "Keanu mentioned your situation. I'm very sorry about your health challenges, and I'm impressed by your children's initiative." He smiled at the twins. Not many kids your age would think to sell their treasures to help their mom. The twins beamed with pride. Greg returned his attention to the car. "Now, regarding valuation, this particular model is from a limited production run for Speed Rally. The movie wasn't a huge commercial success, but it's gained a cult following over the years, which has driven up the value of its memorabilia." He turned the car over to reveal Keanu's signature. "And this authentication makes it exceptionally rare. Of the 50 signed cars, many have been lost or damaged over the years. I personally know of only 12 that still exist." Greg opened his briefcase and pulled out a small magnifying glass. "If you don't mind, I'd like to verify the signature." "Go ahead," Diane said, intrigued by his thoroughness. After examining the signature closely, Greg nodded in satisfaction. Definitely authentic. And Keanu confirmed to me that he remembers signing this particular unit. He said the green color was unusual as most were red or blue. He sat back and regarded the family. Based on my professional assessment and current market values, I'm prepared to offer you $5,000 for this collectible. The twins gasped in unison. Even though they'd been told it might be worth that much, hearing the actual offer made it real. That's very generous, Diane said, her voice slightly unsteady. It's a fair price, Greg assured her. In fact, at auction, it might go higher, but I prefer private acquisitions for special pieces like this. He reached into his briefcase again and pulled out an official-looking document. This is a certificate of authenticity and bill of sale. It states that I'm purchasing the item from you, and that the provenance has been verified. Diane read through the document carefully while Greg continued to chat with the twins about other movie collectibles in his museum. Everything appeared to be in order. And how would the payment work, she asked, trying to sound businesslike despite her racing heart. I can write you a check right now, Greg said, pulling out a checkbook. Or if you prefer, I can do a bank transfer. Whichever is more convenient for you. A check would be fine, Diane replied, still finding it hard to believe this was really happening. Greg nodded and began writing the check. Made out to Diane Taylor, she supplied. As Greg carefully wrote out the check for $5,000. Noah suddenly looked troubled. Wait, he said. Before you take our car, can we say goodbye to it? Greg looked up, surprised, then his expression softened. Of course you can. The twins approached the coffee table. Lily gently touched the car's hood. Goodbye, little car. Dad would be happy you're going to help Mom get better. Noah nodded solemnly. And that you'll be in a museum where people can see how cool you are. Greg watched this exchange with evident emotion. When the twins stepped back, he asked, Would you like to know where you can visit it? My collection is housed at the Pacific Film Memorabilia Museum in San Francisco. If you're ever in the area, you'd be my special guests. Really? Lily's eyes widened. We could visit it? Absolutely, Greg confirmed. In fact, he pulled out a business card and wrote something on the back. Here's my direct contact information. If you let me know ahead of time, I'll give you a personal tour. Diane accepted both the card and the check, feeling slightly dazed. Thank you, Mr. Phillips. This is going to make such a difference for us. Please call me Greg, he insisted, carefully placing the toy car in a padded box. He'd brought in his briefcase. And I should be thanking you. This piece will be a centerpiece in our Unsung Classics exhibition. After all the paperwork was completed and handshakes exchanged, Greg prepared to leave. At the door, he paused. I almost forgot. Keanu asked me to give you this. He handed Diane an envelope. Puzzled, she opened it after Greg had gone. Inside was a note written in a relaxed, flowing hand. Diane, Lily, and Noah, life throws unexpected curves at all of us. What matters is how we navigate them together. I'm glad our paths crossed yesterday. The enclosed passes are for the set of my current film. If you're feeling up to it, Diane, you and the twins would be welcome to visit next Tuesday. My assistant's number is on the back if you'd like to arrange it. Sometimes the universe has a strange way of connecting dots we never knew existed. Warmly, Keanu. 3 laminated VIP passes fell out of the envelope, along with a phone number. Mom, can we go? Please? The twins were jumping with excitement. Diane felt tears welling in her eyes. Not from sadness this time, but from overwhelming gratitude. Yes, she said, pulling her children close. Yes, I think we can do that. Later that afternoon, Diane sat at the kitchen table with a notepad, calculating how the unexpected windfall would change their situation. 6 months of treatments covered, mortgage caught up, even a small cushion left over. For the first time in months, she felt like she could breathe. Her phone buzzed with a text message from a number she didn't recognize. Greg told me everything went well. Glad to hear it. KR. She smiled and typed back a simple reply. Thank you doesn't seem enough, but thank you. We're looking forward to Tuesday. The response came quickly. Just paying forward what others have done for me. See you Tuesday. From the backyard, she could hear the twins laughing as they played, the carefree sound of children being children again, unburdened for the moment from adult worries. Diane closed her eyes, listening to that precious sound, and allowed herself to feel something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Hope. The toy car that had brought an unexpected visitor to their sidewalk sale was gone now, on its way to a new home where it would be appreciated for its rarity and connection to film history. But what it had given them in return was something far more valuable than money. It had given them a second chance. Tuesday morning arrived with perfect weather, clear blue skies, and a gentle breeze that made the leaves dance on the trees lining their street. The twins were up at dawn, too excited to sleep. By the time Diane emerged from her bedroom, they had already dressed themselves in their nicest clothes and were sitting at the kitchen table, backpacks packed with notebooks and pens, in case Keanu wants to give us autographs. You two look like you're ready for picture day at school. Diane laughed, feeling more energetic than she had in weeks, whether it was the relief from financial stress or simply the joy of seeing her children. So happy she found herself looking forward to the day with genuine excitement. Mom, we need to leave early so we're not late, Noah said seriously, checking the Mickey Mouse watch on his wrist for the third time in 5 minutes. The passes say we can arrive any time between 10 and 4, Diane reminded him. And the studio is only 30 minutes away. We have plenty of time. Lily was practically vibrating with anticipation. Do you think we'll see him doing stunts, like jumping off buildings and stuff? I doubt it, sweetie. Most movies have stunt doubles for dangerous scenes, Diane explained as she poured herself a cup of coffee. And remember what we talked about? This is Mr. Reeves's workplace. We need to be respectful and follow all the rules they give us. We know, Mom, the twins chorused. They'd been thoroughly briefed on proper set visit etiquette over the past few days. By 9:30, they were in the car heading toward the address provided by Keanu's assistant, a friendly woman named Patricia, who had called yesterday to confirm their visit. The drive took them to an industrial area on the outskirts of town, where several large warehouse buildings had been converted into sound stages. A security guard checked their passes at the entrance gate and directed them to a visitor parking area. As they walked toward the main building, the twins held Diane's hands tightly, their earlier confidence suddenly tempered by the impressive surroundings and the bustle of crew members moving purposefully about. At the reception desk, a young woman with a headset checked their passes again and made a quick phone call. Someone will be right out to get you, she told them with a smile. You can wait right over there. She pointed to a comfortable seating area. They had barely sat down when a tall woman with a clipboard and a warm smile approached them. You must be the Taylors, she said. I'm Beth, one of the production assistants. Keanu asked me to bring you to the set when you arrived. The twins jumped up immediately and Diane followed more slowly, suddenly feeling nervous. This whole situation still felt surreal. Beth led them through a series of hallways, explaining the filmmaking process as they walked. We're shooting an indoor scene today, which is lucky for visitors. Outdoor shoots can involve a lot of waiting around for the right light or weather. They stopped at a heavy black door marked Sound Stage 3, Quiet Please. Beth turned to them with a finger to her lips. They might be rolling, so we need to be very quiet going in. If the red light is on above the door, it means they're filming and we'll wait. The light was off, so Beth carefully opened the door and ushered them into a dimly lit space. The contrast between the bright hallway and the darkness inside momentarily blinded them. As their eyes adjusted, they found themselves on the periphery of what appeared to be a lavish living room set, complete with furniture, artwork, and a fireplace that looked completely real, despite being on a raised platform surrounded by cameras, lights, and various pieces of equipment. Several people were clustered around monitors, talking in low voices and pointing at screens. Others were adjusting lights or moving furniture slightly, and there, in the center of it all, standing beside a director's chair and looking at something on a tablet, was Keanu Reeves. He looked different than he had at their house. His hair, was styled differently. He wore an expensive-looking suit instead of casual clothes, and he was clean-shaven. But when he glanced up and spotted them, his smile was instantly recognizable. "You made it," he said, walking over to greet them. He shook Diane's hand and then crouched down to high-five the twins. "Welcome to our little movie factory." "This place is awesome," Noah breathed, his eyes wide as he took in all the equipment. "Is that a real living room?" Lily asked, pointing to the set. "It's real in the movie," Keanu explained. "But if you looked behind those walls, you'd just see wooden frames and electrical wiring. Movie magic is all about creating the illusion of reality." A man with a headset approached and whispered something to Keanu, who nodded. "Looks like we're about to start a take," he told the family. "Beth will show you where to watch from, and after we finish this scene, I'll give you the grand tour. Sound good?" The twins nodded enthusiastically, and Beth led them to a special viewing area where they could see the action without being in the way. She provided them with headphones so they could hear what was being said on set. For the next hour, they watched in fascination as the same scene was filmed multiple times from different angles. Keanu transformed before their eyes, becoming the character he was playing, a businessman making a difficult decision that would affect his family. The twins were mesmerized by the process, especially the moments between takes when the serious mood would break and the actors would laugh or chat casually before snapping back into character. When the director finally called for a lunch break, Keanu returned to them looking pleased. "What did you think? Pretty boring watching the same scene over and over?" "It was amazing," Lily exclaimed. "You were like a totally different person when the cameras were on." "Yeah, how do you remember all those lines?" Noah asked. "And say them exactly the same way each time?" Keanu laughed. "Lots of practice, and I don't always say them exactly the same way. Sometimes I try different approaches to see what works best." He guided them through the set, explaining how different departments work together to create the final product. He introduced them to the director, the cinematographer, and several other actors. Everyone was kind and patient with the twins, endless questions. During lunch in the catering tent, Keanu sat with them, asking Diane about her health and how things were going with the money from the toy car. "It's made all the difference," she told him quietly while the twins were distracted by a special effects technician, showing them how fake blood was made. "I've been able to pay for 6 months of treatments in advance, which gives me some breathing room to figure out long-term solutions." "I'm glad to hear it," Keanu said. "And how are you feeling?" "Better, actually. Knowing I can afford the medication without worrying has reduced my stress, which helps with the symptoms." She hesitated, then added, "I wanted to thank you again, not just for the financial help, but for being so kind to the kids. They lost their father so young, and then with my illness. They needed something good to happen." Keanu nodded thoughtfully. "They're great kids. Very resilient." He glanced over at them, now laughing as the effects technician pretended to have his finger cut off. "I have a proposition for you if you're interested." Diane looked at him curiously. "Our production company runs an internship program for young people interested in filmmaking," he explained. "We're starting a new initiative to provide weekend workshops for kids between 8 and 12. The twins might enjoy it. It's all about storytelling, basic camera work, and how movies are made." "They would love that," Diane said. "But I'm not sure I could afford." "It's free," Keanu interrupted gently. "Completely funded by the studio as part of their community outreach. And it's only twice a month, so it wouldn't interfere with school." "That sounds wonderful," Diane said, genuinely touched by his continued thoughtfulness. After lunch, Keanu had to return to filming, but he arranged for another production assistant to give them a full backstage tour, including visits to the costume department, the prop room, and even the editing suite where they got to see rough cuts of scenes that had been shot the previous week. By the time they were ready to leave, the twins had collected autographs from nearly everyone on the crew and had been given small souvenirs, a toy, clapperboard keychain for Noah, and a miniature director's chair for Lily. As they were saying their goodbyes, Keanu took a moment to speak privately with Diane again. "I hope today was fun for all of you," he said. "It was incredible," Diane assured him. They'll be talking about this for months. Good. He smiled. Oh, and I almost forgot. My friend Greg from the Memorabilia Museum called me yesterday. He wanted me to let you know that the toy car is now on display in their main exhibition hall. He sent this. Keanu handed her a small envelope. Inside was a photograph of the green toy car, now in an elegant glass display case with a placard that read, Limited Edition Speed Rally Collectible, signed by Keanu Reeves, donated by the Taylor family. He added your names, Diane, said, her voice catching. The kids will be thrilled. Greg thought it was important to honor the car's history, Keanu explained. Objects carry stories with them. Your family's story is now part of that car's journey. As they walked back to their car, the twins chattering excitedly about everything they'd seen, Diane reflected on the extraordinary chain of events that had brought them here. A sidewalk sale, a chance encounter, a toy car with a hidden history. Small moments that had combined to create something life-changing. She watched her children skip ahead, their faces alight with joy, and felt a deep sense of peace. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, her illness wasn't going away, and raising children alone would always be challenging. But today had reminded her that unexpected kindness could appear when you least expected it, and that sometimes the most valuable things we own aren't things at all. Back in the studio, Keanu watched the family leave from a window, a small smile on his face. In his industry, it was easy to forget the impact that simple acts of kindness could have. Spotting that toy car on the twins' table had been a coincidence, or perhaps something more meaningful. Either way, he was glad he'd taken that walk on. Saturday morning. 5-minute warning, Mr. Reeves, a crew member called. Thank you, he replied, turning back toward the set, ready to step into another story, another life. That was his job, after all, to tell stories that moved people, that made them feel something real. But sometimes the most moving stories were the ones that happened when the cameras weren't rolling.